Let's then put all of what we saw in the introduction video into practice. We met the fact that a line equation can be written y equals mx plus c. And we talked about that m is our steepness. Now, there's actually a fancy maths word for steepness, which we are going to use, which is gradient. So that is our fancy maths word that describes how steep a line is. And we saw that this part here tells us about the y-intercept of the line. So let's put that into practice with some examples. And so in these examples, what I'm asking for is, given a line equation, I want to be able to write down its gradient and its y-intercept. Well, that's dead easy because we just have to look at our line equation each time and see what it is. So here, our gradient is the number that comes in front of the x, just like our m came in front of the x. So our gradient equals 4. And our y-intercept, well, our y-intercept came from this thing at the end. We're taking 3 away here. So our y-intercept is going to be -3. But I want you to give your y-intercept as a coordinate. Now remember, it's a point on the y-axis. So it's 0 along and then -3. So this -3 coming from our line equation. Now let's do the same with the next one. We have gradient here. And we have our y-intercept. Our gradient is the thing that comes in front of the x, which here is -0.5. And our y-intercept here is at, well, we're going 0 along and +2 this time. So 0, 2 is our y-intercept. Now, I'm not bothered putting the plus sign in because you kind of don't need to. You only need to put it in if it's a negative, but there'd be no harm if you did. This one, our gradient, well, it's a thing in front of x. Now, this one we have to think a bit more. We've got a minus, and what number would normally come there? Well, we normally miss out a 1 in algebra. So technically, let's say -1x, but be careful. I've put the x's at the end here. That doesn't change a thing. It's still the thing in front of the x is our gradient. So -1 is our gradient, and our y-intercept is at 0 along. It's always 0 something. And then the number that's on its own, it's not with the x, is 3. So 0, 3. Okay, so hopefully it gives you a couple of examples. Have a go for yourself, and then I will run through these ones here. Okay, so hopefully you've gone through these for yourself and you paused the video. Let's do these. So my gradient for this first one is 2. My y-intercept with this one should have been the coordinate 0, 7. Please, please, please give it as a coordinate. I'm not showing you that for fun. It's important. This one, the gradient was a 3rd. The y-intercept is 0 along and -9. Make sure you included the minus there. This one, our gradient is the thing that comes in front of the x. So the gradient is that bit, which is -2. The y-intercept is 0 along -4. And so we are done. Now, there is one further skill that we need to get our head around with this, and that is working the other way. So here I'm taking a line equation and getting the gradient and the y-intercept, but sometimes you will be given the gradient and the y-intercept and be asked to give the equation of a line. So let's do that. Well, all our lines have the form y equals mx plus c. M is what our gradient is. So we get y equals, and our gradient is 5 here. And then we add on our y-intercept. Now that's the -2 that we've got. So here I'm taking my y-intercept and I'm putting it in there. I'm taking my gradient information and that's going in there, replacing the m. My y-intercept replacing the c. So again, pause the video, have a go, and I'll run through that in just a moment. Okay, hopefully you paused. I'm just going to write my y equals mx plus c out again. Our gradient is -3 here, so that's what goes in front of the x. My y-intercept 0, 1, so we're adding on 1 at the end. So just so you can see how that flows through, that's all our gradient information. This is all about our y-intercept. Okay, that should give you enough to have a go at the questions. When you get to the matching between the line equations and the graphs, use a little bit of thinking, use a little bit of problem solving to see if you can figure that task out. But if you can get your head around the first set of questions which focus on this, that is fantastic. If you get onto the matching task, well done. And you can always check the answers and see if you are correct to make sure you've fully understood.